Hey, what's up soldiers? My name is GregFPS, the Zombies Extraordinaire, and today guys, we're going to be taking a look at what we could be seeing in Black Ops 4 for zombies maps. Now this is going to be a complete theory, but I'm going to be backing some of this stuff up with information and direct storyline quotes that will lead you guys to believe exactly my train of thought when I was thinking of making this video. So I hope you guys do enjoy, and without further ado, let's get right into it. So we know that Treyarch is definitely popularized from the Black Ops series. Now whether or not they decide to make Black Ops 4, and since it's going to be boots on the ground, maybe it takes place between Black Ops 1 and 2, maybe it takes place before Black Ops 1, which I'm totally fine with, or if we just get a completely different storyline. There's been leaks and rumors of a modern day Treyarch game, which I'm totally fine with. It really only changes the multiplayer and the campaign. It's not going to change zombies. Zombies is something that we are going to be holding on to when it comes to the next Treyarch game, because we're getting a continuation of Black Ops 3. Now what I'm going to do is talk about two potential maps, and one of them is going to be Mob of the Dead Remastered. Now there's a lot of things that come into this that I'm going to be elaborating on, so hope you guys can stick with me through this. First of all, as a fan of Mob of the Dead, there are a ton of people that it's their favorite map. One of them being NoJ456. I've talked to him about it. It's his favorite map. There's so many other people that I can't even mention in the zombies community. It's usually goes between Mob of the Dead and Origins as a majority of people's favorite maps. Some of them are in Black Ops 3, some of them are completely different, and that's totally fine, but I would say a majority of people really enjoy Mob of the Dead. It's usually like top 3 for most people. So when we take a look at that, we can tell already off the bat that the community would love to see Mob of the Dead Remastered, and it showed when it came to Zombies Chronicles. A lot of people enjoyed getting older maps remastered, one of them being Origins, Moon, things like that. People loved it. And one thing that a lot of people say, even on the Reddit all the time, is where is Mob of the Dead? So when you take a look at various different accounts on Twitter, there is a guy named Cornrow Wallace, and his real name is James, and he is actually a map developer at Treyarch. Now he made Meadow, which is a custom zombies map, and it was really cool, but he actually made a tweet back a little while ago on December 4th that said, "Once in a while Reddit actually makes me smile." And what it was a screenshot from Reddit where it says every map has its flaws except Mob of the Dead. So this goes to show that James, the guy that works at Treyarch, he understands that even the community loves Mob of the Dead, and I'm sure he loves it because it made him smile, and that is not really too important. But I just want to kind of back it up that like even Treyarch knows that everyone loves this map, so it would give them a great reason to remaster it. But let's jump into the actual storyline for, you know, Mob of the Dead. So we know that on July 4th, 1941, Richtofen returns to the lab under Alcatraz, where we meet Victus, arriving from the empty Earth with the Chronorium. Upon reading the Chronorium, Richtofen discovers numerous timelines documenting their fates and learns about the blood vials. He would later write on the page, "I know what I must do, Edward Richtofen, 4741. Richtofen enters a rift to acquire the blood of Sal and Finn. After delivering the blood to his younger self and recovering the blood vials belonging to Victus, he returns. Victus is placed on ice to be kept safe until they are needed next." So we already know that they're going to be needed next because it says until they are needed next. So we know, and there are a ton of theories supporting this, that chances are we're going to be using the Victus crew again. I mean, they are going to be needed next. We know this. So whether or not we get the Victus crew and we end up using them on Mob of the Dead, or we end up getting the original Mob of the Dead, chances are we're most likely going to be getting either the Victus crew or the Origins crew. It's going to be one of those two crews. And the reason I'm saying this is because when you take a look at Mob of the Dead, it is basically not in a certain place. It's actually in purgatory the entire time because it's an endless cycle repeating over and over and over. And the only way to break the cycle is to have Weasel kill the other 3 characters, Sal DeLuca, Finn O'Leary, and also Billy Handsome. So this is something that we need to take into account when we're talking about Alcatraz. Now, that apart from that, that means that we didn't actually get all of Alcatraz, and we only got parts of it, and it was only in this purgatory mode. So when you think about it, what Treyarch could do, and we've seen this in a interview Jason Lindell did with JC, where they actually ended up making all of Alcatraz, and I'll play that right now.
I mean, Mob of the Dead isn't a, I mean, yeah. I think a lot of people, and I've talked to you about this before, like, I think just in terms of just how great that map was, like, I think it's either the best map or one of the best maps y'all ever did.
Yeah, I'm sure there's another purpose for that at some point.
You know that map.
I enjoy that map. It was great fun. It was probably one of the first maps that we did a big Treyarch outing. So we actually took everyone and went to Alcatraz. And when we first put down Mob, we actually built all of Alcatraz.
That's
like,
insane.
All of it.
So like not just like the stuff that we saw in the distance. Like we only have really the docks.
Yeah, well,
the
there's
outside,
actually,
but there's a lot more.
If you get like a picture of Alcatraz, you'll see there's whole sections that we cut off. Well, we actually built that.
So cool.
So it has a special place in our hearts, you know.
That at least like that's good. I think that's a good answer for the community.
Yeah.
It's like that. I think that was one of the #1 questions I had. Like just after that whole stream was, why not Mob? Like why not stuff like that?
So as you can see, when Treyarch was actually making, you know, Mob of the Dead, they all went there, they all did measurements, and they literally made the entire map of Mob of the Dead. And what this makes me think of is, why not would Treyarch decide to make the entire Alcatraz Island within the zombie storyline, have it take place? We already know that there have been various other confirmations of this. Now we know that the Morgue City timeline is closed. Shadows of Evil, the timeline is completely gone. We scrapped the characters, they're out of the picture, but we still have the Shadow Man, and we still have various other things going on within Mob of the Dead that could be brought into the actual thing. The key is an actual thing. It's hanging up in Alcatraz Island. I'm supposed to be going possibly to California in like January or February with my dad, so I'm hoping I can go to Alcatraz and, you know, check all that stuff out in the San Francisco Bay, which would be amazing, but that's totally besides the point. But when you take a deeper look at like everything going on, once again, it's in purgatory, not in the actual zombie storyline. So now we can agree that first of all, it's going to be different, okay? But when you take a look at Transit, for example, they split that up into maps. You have Bus Depot, you have Diner, you have Town, and you also, last but not least, have Farm. So why not make an entire Alcatraz map and have the ability to choose between the old storyline, so it only makes us use that certain part of the map with the whole purgatory thing going on, use those 4 original characters with the cycle continuing over and over, and then if we want, we can break the cycle with the Weasel, or we can continue the cycle and kill Weasel, and then have the entire Alcatraz Island where we possibly use the Victus crew to go around the map and do something else. And that leads me to my next point. So this is basically my thought process when it comes to Mob of the Dead and what they could do with it. Now that is totally up for grabs. This is just like kind of a theory, but the next thing that leads me into it is London. London is something that we have already seen multiple times. And it's not just on Horizon Jack when you get the plunger by setting the clock, and supposedly when you kill a Panzer and your plunger is like on fire, if you kill another Panzer or hit a Panzer with it, it supposedly teleports to London. So this leads me to my next point. When we play Moon on Zombies Chronicles, there are newspapers on the 2nd level of the labs that actually talk about London. There was a huge parade in London, which is read on one of the newspapers. And also there's another one that says zombie attack in the heart of London. Usually a parade, if you're going to be having a huge parade, it's going to be in the heart of the city. So something might have happened to this parade where maybe, you know, something happened where they all turned to zombies, which would be insane. And last but not least, there's another paper that says reports of zombie attacks in London, officials not confirming. So we know that panzers are already being sent to London. We know that there is this zombie attack that happened, and this leads me to my next point, which is kind of speculation, but it seems like this would be a good time for the Victus crew to make a reappearance. Now, whether or not this is going to be the map that kind of sets things straight at the start, like the on-disc map, I'm not really too sure, but I feel like if Victus was going to make an appearance in this next game, I feel like it's going to be at the start of the map, because usually when we get Treyarch zombies, we're not going to have, you know, the biggest, most insane map right at launch. Although having London, and we've been waiting for it for a while, looks like a great opportunity to be an on-disc map, I don't think this is going to happen. I think that if they're ever going to include the Origins crew, it's all going to be DLC, because everyone assumes that that is, you know, the favorite crew, I guess. For me, it's definitely the Origins crew. I love the Origins crew, and I love all the storyline in Black Ops 3. But for Treyarch's standpoint, I think that they're going to save that for DLC, because they know that most people are going to purchase it if it's in DLC. So I think that the London map could be something that we get from the Victus crew. Now, the interesting thing about this is we have various different timelines going on, because the really crazy thing is we don't have a date on this newspaper of when it happened, but we know that Moon actually takes place in 2025. So that's still in the future, and we get this from the storyline that says on October 13th, 2025 Moon, using the Vril device and the focusing stone, Richtofen completes his grand scheme and swaps bodies with Samantha on the Moon, giving him full control of the zombies and the Aether. Maxis contacts the remaining members of Ultimus through the station's electronics and asks them for their help to defeat Richtofen. They agree. They launch missiles on Earth, leaving it fractured and broken. They sever Richtofen's connection with the Aether, but he maintains control over the zombies. Once Maxis controls the Aether in 2035, he returns to the Moon and plucks Samantha from Richtofen's body to join him in Agartha. So this is basically the end of the Ultimus crew. Now, that was basically talking about the Ultimus crew, which we got in Zombies Chronicles. So we know that that is once again removed and everything has been resolved there. Basically, I think that this zombie attack is taking place sometime in the 1940s, because we have the Ultimus, or Victus crew rather, being in Mob of the Dead in 1941 when they're put on ice. Now, whether this is to preserve them past to, you know, over 2035 or 36 when the rest of the Black Ops 2 storyline takes place, because on October 21st Transit takes place in 2035. On October 22nd, literally the next day, Die Rise takes place on 2035, and then December 31st 2035 is when Buried happens. So chances are that this whole newspaper thing is going to possibly take place for this whole zombie attack in London, either before that or after that, and that's how long they're going to be on ice for. So I know this was all over the place, guys, and I apologize, but basically what I wanted to say in this video was I think Mob of the Dead is going to come back, and I gave possible reasons what they could do, and also I think the London map is going to probably be the on-disc map. Now, chances are it could be a DLC. I could be wrong on that, but I guarantee you, for the most part, that we're going to be seeing London and Mob of the Dead in the next Treyarch game. Thanks for watching, guys. Have an amazing day, and I'll see you guys in the next video. If you guys have any thoughts on this, let me know down below. And once again, thank you so much for watching. I'll see y'all later. Peace out.